Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and speaking of luck, today is one of those days we're gonna have a whole lot of luck in the kitchen. I recently returned from traveling to beautiful España, that's Spain, and of course I ate so much of their cuisine, ate my way through that beautiful country, and one of the most common things you'll find in Spain is something known as a Spanish omelet. Now, a Spanish omelet typically has potatoes and onion, or patatas and cebollos, and you mix them up together and fry them in some oil on a skillet, right? And then you add some eggs, or huevos, to the mixture. My Spanish is coming in handy from being back in the day, from high school days. And then you let it sit in there for a little bit, and then you give it a flip. That flip can be a little scary though, right? It can be a little scary, because when you flip, sometimes it can drip, and it gets all over your counter or your stove, and I don't like that. When we took this class in Valencia, where we learned how to make an authentic Spanish omelet, as well as a paella, I'll release that one eventually. So many people who volunteered to do it in the class, when they did the flip, it spilled all over the place, and we were laughing, ha ha ha, but I was secretly like, ugh, I have to eat that now. I touched the counter. But they put it right back in the skillet, and then it just firmed up. But I said, you know what? There's no need for me to have to do it that way, because there's a million Spanish omelet recipes out there, and as much as I love a Spanish omelet, I feel like just bringing the flavors of a Spanish omelet and scrambling them, and possibly adding an additional little touch there with some meat and cheese, because I like a meat and cheese in my scramble or my omelet. That's not typical to a Spanish omelet, but you're gonna see what I mean. We're gonna go to the skillet and make what is now my literal go-to egg breakfast for any time guests come over. We're gonna be doing something called Spanish Omelette Scramble, and I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be something your friends are gonna wanna sample. Let's do it. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to take a large Spanish or yellow onion. I mean, I feel like if you can get a Spanish one, get a Spanish one, because they're Spanish omelets. And then slice it up into thin strands just like this. Then we're going to take about 2 pounds worth of Idaho or russet potatoes, or baking potatoes. They're really all the same thing. Usually about 1 potato is a pound, so about 2 of them should be fine. And then I want to peel them, and then I want to slice them like this. With each one, I basically want to slice each one about 1/4 inch thick. You don't really want to be any thicker than that, because we're going to basically put these in some oil shortly, and we want to give them a little bit of a light fry. And the thinner the potato, the easier and the quicker they'll fry up. Okay, and once you've sliced your potatoes up, kind of just like stack them a couple times in a few different piles here. Let's take this one for instance, and then I just want to basically quarter them. So go like this, and then like this. And then we have some quarters here. Okay, and here are all my veggies chopped up. My 1 large Spanish or yellow onion sliced into strands like this, and my 2 pounds of potatoes that are peeled, sliced into 1/4 inch pieces, and then quartered. Alright, so now let's focus on our skillet or frying pan. I want to take a 12-inch frying pan or skillet and place it on the stove just like that. Try to use a 12-inch, because in all honesty, it's going to be the best for this, because we're using a dozen eggs. If you're using half the amount of eggs, like 6, you can go for like a 10-inch skillet or frying pan. And into the frying pan, we're going to add in 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to set the heat to medium-high, and in about 3 minutes, that oil should be heated up. While the oil's heating up, I want to take 12 large eggs and crack it into a bowl gently so we don't get the shell in there. And then take a whisk, and we're going to beat these. I want to do it sort of aggressively for about 30 to 45 seconds until our eggs become nice and smooth. Alright, when we're looking like that, with some bubbles floating around, we're done. We're going to set that aside for the time being. Once our oil's all heated and shimmering, I want to add in my potato and my onion, add that to the oil. And I'm going to season that up with 2 teaspoons of seasoned salt or regular salt. You can also use kosher salt, or you can even, if you want, use like a little bit more of a zesty seasoning, like a Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, even though that's not really typical to a Spanish omelet, of course, it's up to you. And 1 teaspoon of pepper, so 2 teaspoons of a salt of your choice. I like seasoned salt, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. And we're going to saute our onion and our potato in the oil for about 15 to 20 minutes. So set a timer, and we're going to keep it on medium-high heat. And what I want to do is first obviously mix everything up. so we get the seasonings coated in all our vegetables. And then we want to let our potatoes and our onions brown and soften as they pan fry in our olive oil. Basically what we're looking for here is for our potatoes to become like a hash brown consistency, where they're kind of golden brown or even a little charred looking. So what I want to do is between 15 to 20 minutes, let this rest every 2 or so minutes and then come back and give it a stir in that time. Alright? This is pretty easy. You can be lazy now. You can clean up whatever you just used, any knives, any bowls, what you chopped everything into. Just clean it up and get rid of it. Be easier in the end when there's less to deal with. Alright, like I said, after a couple of minutes of just letting our onion and potato rest in there, get under with the spatula and begin to stir it around. This is going to take us a little bit of patience and time, because we definitely want those potatoes to become softened and a bit, you know, crunchy on the outside and soft in the middle, like a hash brown. And it's been about 8 minutes so far of me just letting it rest and then stirring, and you're going to see, you see how we're getting like nice and brown here? That's good. That's what we want. And now the reason why we slice our potatoes 1/4 of an inch thick is super important, because that will ensure these potatoes cook quickly. If they're left to be thicker, they're going to take longer to cook, and we don't want that. Okay, we're going to get in there, and you see how nice this is starting to get? Oh yeah, look at that color. That's what I want to see. Like a nice, well done hash brown where it's going to have that nice char on the outside, just like this. We don't have to have all of our potatoes look like that, just some, you know? It's going to be worth it. This step is worth it. The more time you put into it, the better the results, trust me. Alright, and we're just about at the 15-minute mark here, and do you see what's going on in this pan with my delightful looking potatoes? You have this nice array of them, you know, with the golden brown char on them. You see what I mean? I think we're ready to go here. You can go a little longer if you want, but they're nice and soft. The onions are nice and soft. But they're nice and seasoned with the salt and pepper already. We're good to go. Now what I want to do is reduce my heat down to medium-low. And now it's time to take our eggs that we've beaten and add them directly to the pan. Yep, I know it doesn't seem like a lot of eggs, but when you add them in, it's the right amount. Now, this is not common to a Spanish omelet, and it's optional, but I like to add this. What I'm doing is I'm adding in 1 cup of a shredded manchego cheese. Manchego is a sheep's cheese, and it's basically the cheese of Spain. It's everywhere. Add that on top. Not common to a Spanish omelet, but this is a Spanish omelette scramble. And also not common to a Spanish omelet is some meat, which I'm also going to add. I'm adding some Spanish-style chorizo that I just diced up. 4 ounces worth is perfect. This is the kind of chorizo that I'm using, by the way, that you'd find in the charcuterie section of your market. You can also use diced prosciutto, or of course, which the most common thing is jamon, and dice that up. About 4 ounces is fine. It's all cured, all right? So when we add that in there, we're going to be good. You do not have to add this, by the way. It's totally optional, because a Spanish omelet just typically has the potatoes, the onion, and the egg, and some olive oil, and really that is it. But in this situation, I'm doing a scramble, so I'm adding some more wonderful Spanish touches with either the chorizo or the jamon, or of course prosciutto if you can't find that. About 4 ounces and about a cup of manchego. Now I want to get in there with a spatula after about 30 seconds of this sitting in here and then begin to do my scramble. I'm going to basically start folding everything. You see how there's forms here? Like we have like a firm like egg situation going on here. Just lightly run a silicone spatula and fold, meaning to go underneath and like literally fold it on top of each other in a swirling type of position. Now a Spanish omelet is typically runny, okay? That's how they typically like to do it. However, you can absolutely make it more well done. That's totally up to you. Just basically cook this until your heart's content on medium-low right now, so we don't overdo it with the eggs until you're very happy. Now to me, this as is right here is perfect, so I'm actually going to kill the heat completely on the stove. And I'm going to remove my pan to a different part of the stove because I don't want it to keep cooking. I want it to kind of just rest. That looks glorious. But like I said, if you want it more well done, feel free to do that. It's your Spanish omelet scramble, you can do whatever you want. Now this scramble makes life so much easier, by the way, because if I was doing it the actual Spanish omelet style, I'd let it sit in here. Then I would have to let the bottom have a kind of like a crust formed. Then we'd have to put a plate on top of this and then flip it. And the flipping part, I'm telling you right now, is so much more tricky than you'd expect it to be. It can spill all over on top of your stove or your counter. Believe me, when we took this class, in Valencia, that's exactly what happened to half the people who tried. And I just feel like you can literally just add the eggs and then just scramble it in with everything, and it's gonna be just as delicious, just like this. And it is now time to serve this up. Let's do it. There, my friends, is this beautiful, glorious Spanish omelet scramble. Let's try it out. And okay, my friends, here it is, my beautiful Spanish omelet scramble with that nice charred potato on the end there. All right, let's just try this out and see how it is. Here we go. This is legitimately my new favorite way to eat eggs. If you don't want to add the cheese, or if you don't want to add manchego, it's a little more of a pricey cheese and you have to shred it yourself, and you want to just add a Mexican cheese blend or any kind of cheese that you enjoy, have at it, use a cup. You don't have to. If you don't want to add that jamon or prosciutto or chorizo at the end, you don't have to. Just make sure, by the way, if you're using chorizo, I can't stress this enough, you have to use one that's already like a pre-cooked or cured. Don't use one that's raw, because we're adding it at the very end. We want to make sure it's cooked. You'll find that in the charcuterie section. If it says Spanish chorizo when it's thinly sliced, just dice it up. You don't have to add those things, because like I said, a Spanish omelet focuses on two major things in the omelet, and that is potatoes and onion. If you hate onion, you can also leave that out, but if you don't put potatoes in, it's just then at that point just eggs, basically scrambled eggs. But it's so easy to make. It just takes a few extra minutes to just saute the potatoes and onion, but it's so worth it and it's so easy. And this is a crowd-pleasing dish. It is so delicious and frankly, so much easier and less stressful than having to worry about a flip with a traditional Spanish omelet. So I just like my Spanish omelet scramble. What can I tell you? It's the same exact flavor with a little bit of the work, you know? Just not much of it. Richard, come down here and try this. So here's Richard. He just came down from a quick moment to break from work. We were in Spain, as you know, and we ate so many Spanish omelets. This is a scramble style, and I added some manchego and chorizo to it. Let me know what your thoughts are. It makes it so much easier to make, in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about a flip.
You don't have to do that big, messy flip.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Oh my God, it's really good. Cut that out.
Typically, he came down a few minutes later, but I like to leave it a little runny because that's how they like to serve it there, but you can make it more well done. So you just undercook it slightly if you want. But what are you thinking of that?
Very good. It's moist.
Moist.
It's moist. It's not dry. You know, dry eggs are the worst. And this is really good. It's got this. The chorizo is great.
There's manchego in it as well.
Potatoes are perfectly cooked. I know that can be a difficult thing here.
They're really good.
And yeah, and the manchego too. Yes.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad you approve. That trip to Spain was worth it, just for this alone. All right, get back to work. And there you have it. Richard approves. That's a good thing, and I hope all my Spanish friends approve of this as well. It's just my little spin and an homage to an already phenomenal classic omelet by making it, in my opinion, just a little bit simpler, so you don't have to worry about that flip, and just scrambling it and adding in, if you want, a little bit of additional cheese and some meats in there. But of course, keeping it to the Spanish ones where possible. This is outrageously delicious. I cannot recommend this enough to you to make in your own kitchens. It is like literally bringing Spain into your house. This is my new go-to for making breakfast for whenever I have a guest over, or for Richard when he's in bed, if I feel really nice that day. If you enjoy these recipes, I have so many that run the gamut. They're so easy to make. I can't even begin to tell you how easy they are, because that's my whole mantra. Easy, simplicity, and something that's not gonna give you a stressful moment in the kitchen. Cooking should be fun, it should be therapeutic, not stressful. I wrote a bunch of cookbooks, but I'll just show you one for now. This is one of my Instant Pot cookbooks. It's a super shortcut Instant Pot cookbook because it's super shortcut, just like this recipe. This was not made in an Instant Pot, but it's just as easy as anything in my Instant Pot cookbook. So if you have an Instant Pot and you know, whether you love using it or you've never touched it before, get this book because it's going to be invaluable to you. Or any of my Instant Pot books. I also have an orange one, yellow one, and blue one. This is the green one. I have 4 of them. Follow me on all the social channels, on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, all that stuff at Pressure Luck or Pressure Luck Cooking. Just find me there. I talk so much with my hands. Thank you so much again for watching, my friends. And the next time you want to make something that's delicious and really not a pain, well, grab some eggs and make this omelet-style scramble from Spain. Enjoy. Oh. I just dropped it on myself. Let's try that again. Enjoy.